Saint Augustine commentary on Psalm 81 following. But when you shall have passed the Red Sea, when you shall have been led forth out of your offences, with a mighty hand and with a strong arm, you will perceive mysteries that you know not. Since Joseph himself too, when he came out of the land of Egypt, heard a language which he knew not. You shall hear a language which you know not, which they that know now hear and recognize, bearing witness and knowing. You shall hear where you ought to have your heart, which just now, when I said many understood and answered by acclamation, the rest stood mute, because they have not heard the language which they knew not. Let them hasten then, let them pass over, let them learn. He turned away from burdens his back, verse 6. Who turned away from burdens his back, but he that cried, Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden. Matthew 11:28. In another manner, this same thing is signified. What the pursuit of the Egyptians did, the same thing do the burdens of sin. As if you should say, from what burdens his hands in the basket did serve. By the basket are signified servile works. To cleanse, to manure, to carry earth is done with a basket. Such works are servile, because everyone that does sin is the slave of sin. And if the Son shall have made you free, then will you be free indeed. John 8:34-36. Justly also are the rejected things of the world counted as baskets, but even baskets did God fill with morsels. 12 baskets, Matthew 14:20, did he fill with morsels, because he chose the rejected things of this world to confound the things that were mighty. 1 Corinthians 1:27. But also when with the basket Joseph did serve, he then carried earth, because he did make bricks. His hands in the basket did serve. In tribulation you called on me, and I delivered you. Verse 8. Let each Christian conscience recognize itself, if it have devoutly passed the Red Sea, if with faith in believing and observing it has heard a strange language which it knew not, let it recognize itself as having been heard in its tribulation. For that was a great tribulation, to be weighed down with loads of sins. How does the conscience lifted from the earth rejoice? Lo, you are baptized, your conscience which was yesterday overladen, today rejoices you. You have been heard in tribulation. Remember your tribulation before you came to the water. What anxiety did you bear on you? What fastings did you practice? What tribulations did you carry in your heart? What inward pious devout prayers? Slain are your enemies, all your sins are blotted out. In tribulation you called upon me, and I delivered you. I heard you in the hidden part of the tempest, not in a tempest of the sea, but in a tempest of the heart. I proved you in the water of contradiction. Truly, brethren, truly he that was heard in the hidden part of the tempest ought to be proved in the water of contradiction. For when he has believed, when he has been baptized, when he has begun to go in the way of God, when he has striven to be strained into the vat, and has drawn himself out from the lees that run in the street, He will have many disturbers, many insulters, many detractors, many discouragers, many that even threaten where they can, that deter, that depress. This is all the water of contradiction. I suppose there are some here today, for instance, I think it likely, there are some here whom their friends wish to hurry away to the circus, and to I know not that what triflings of these days' festivity. Perchance they have brought those persons with them to church. But whether they have brought those with them, or whether they have by them not permitted themselves to be led away to the circus, in the water of contradiction have they been tried. Do not then be ashamed to proclaim what you know, to defend even among blasphemers what you have believed. However much the bad that our aliens may rage, or that our own bad people would not help them. You recollect what was said of Christ, that he was thus born for the fall of many and the rising again of many, and for a sign to be spoken against. Luke 2:34. We know, we see, the sign of the cross has been set up and it has been spoken against. There has been speaking against the glory of the cross. But there was a title over the cross which was not to be corrupted. For there is a title in the psalm, for the inscription of the title corrupt though not. It was a sign to be spoken against, for the Jews said, make it not King of the Jews, but make it that he said, I am the King of the Jews. John 19:21. Conquered was the contradiction. It was answered, what I have written, I have written. All this from the beginning of the psalm up to this verse we have heard of the oil of the press. What remains is rather for grief and warning, for it belongs to the lees of the press, when to the end perchance also not without a meaning in the interposition of the diapsalma. But even this too is profitable to hear, that he who sees himself already of the oil may rejoice. He that is in danger of running among the lees may beware. To both give heed, choose the one, fear the other. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, and will bear witness unto you. Verse 8. For it is not to a strange people, not to a people that belongs not to the press, judge ye, he says, between me and my vineyard. Isaiah 5:3. Israel, if you shall have heard me, there shall not be in you any good God. Verse 9. A new God is one made for the time, but our God is not new, but from eternity to eternity. And our Christ is new perchance as man, but eternal God. For what before the beginning? And truly in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. And our Christ himself is the Word made flesh, that he might dwell in us. John 1:14. Far be it then that there should be in anyone a new God. A new God is either a stone or a phantom. He is not, says one, a stone. I have a silver and a gold one. Justly did he choose to name the very costly things, who said, the idols of the nations are silver and gold. Great are they because they are of gold and silver. Costly they are, shining they are, but yet eyes they have and see not. New are these gods. What newer than a god out of a workshop? Ye, those now old ones, spiders' webs have covered over, they that are not eternal are new. So much for the pagans. For if there be error in you, you will not worship a strange God. If you think not of a false God, you will not worship a manufactured God. For there will not be in you any strange God. for I am. What would you adore what is not? For I am the Lord your God. Verse 10. Because I am that am. And indeed I am, he says, I that am, of every creature. Yet to you what good have I afforded in time? Who brought you out of the land of Egypt? Not to that people alone is it said, for we all were brought out of the land of Egypt. We have all passed through the Red Sea. Our enemies pursuing us have perished in the water. Let us not be ungrateful to our God. Let us not forget God that abides and fabricate in ourselves a new God. I, who led you out of the land of Egypt, says God. Open wide your mouth, and I will fill it. Thou sufferest straitness in yourself because of the new God set up in your heart. Break the vain image, cast down from your conscience the faint idol. Open wide your mouth in confessing, in loving, and I will fill it, because with me is the fountain of life.